They told me for years there was no money in podcasting. Well, they were all wrong.
So,
not only that, like resources. Typically, you would think that with something as big as Trade Talks, we have a giant team, unlimited resources. No, it's just us. It's me and you.
Mm-hmm.
We are the A team. Jill and Will. Kicking ass.
Yep. And not only in studio or remotely, but even when we go on the road now, too. And then we have our road kit. You have never produced like that before. And it was, you had a couple, but you did fine.
I was so scared.
But it's like, it's practice.
No, I knew I was going to kill it.
And it's also, everything is so hands-on. It's almost like you can go to school for finance, but once you get on a trading desk, you could go to med school. I would imagine until you start doing your residency and doing the rounds and all that, it's different than what you learn in biology class. Yep. And it's repetition. As you know, I'm in school and I took a number of editing classes, and it was a crash course. I had to learn Audition and Premiere Pro in 16 weeks.
Yep.
And I had to reuse it for some stuff I'm doing, this year. And unless you're doing that every day, and of course those platforms are always evolving, it's challenging.
Always changing. Yeah. Yesterday, I spent half my day on Adobe After Effects, just creating lower thirds. Because anytime I do a podcast like this in studio or remote, I want to have new graphics. Every time I have different lower thirds. So I haven't made the one for this podcast yet, but it's going to look different. Because the idea is like, listen, I am a podcaster. I also do editing. I am trying to sell my stuff. So if someone goes, oh, that's a great lower third. Hey, you like it? Great. You can buy it. Right? So that's why everything needs to be different. Always.
Yeah, and that's a challenge that we have because...
Well, we're different because we're not selling production services. Right. NASDAQ isn't. Right. So if it's uniform like that, that's fine. But for us, I would be like, listen, if I was in charge, I'd be like, once a year, new graphics.
But I would love to, and we have been doing that for the most part, but I would love if we had more editorial control and could do some of those more fun things. Like, let's say we have a digital asset hit. We use this set of graphics. If we have something on each of these, again, we work for a global brand. We don't have that type of leniency, but I do get what you're saying.
They're all working on other things too.
Right.
Like I say it's me and you, but no, we have a lot of help from the broadcast team, the social team, the design team, but those are different teams. The Trade Talks team is Jill and Will.
Right. And to your point, I'm trying to learn different production platforms, and I'm in front of camera. And I do my own booking, my own scheduling, my own scripting. But I want to learn how to be more autonomous, whether it's NASDAQ or elsewhere, because what if we do stuff on the fly? What if we want to do a mini doc series? What if we, our design and editing teams are so busy on other projects? Well, if you and I get proficient at it, why can't we do it?
Yeah. You're like, hey, can you learn this? I go, yes.
Yep.
I'll figure it out.
Well, you never stop learning. Look, I'm 45. I'm in graduate school. I finished off my undergrad 2 years ago. You never stop learning. You never stop evolving. And I think, and if anything from this podcast, if you could take that away with you, whether it's going back to school, whether it's going for a specific class, whether it's a trade school, whether you want to identify what you think your passion is and just continue to learn, why wouldn't you? The resources are available. A lot of companies are actually offering, like NASDAQ University, if you will, internally. There are so many resources that are out there, but don't ever stop, because I'm telling you, at the pace that everything evolves, it's not going to wait for you.
Yeah, never turn down an opportunity. I mean, low-key, you guys hired me almost 3 years ago. Believe that, 3 years. It's been 3 years, Jill. Almost 3 years ago, you guys hired me, and I had no live stream experience. None. I was a podcaster. My interview, I talked podcasts, like hard. And then I talked to the people just on the land of the podcast. She's just like, yeah, it was your passion. More than anything is what really got you hired. I was like, I can learn this. And, I learned live stream in 2 weeks, not even. And I picked it up. And then once 6 months later, the pandemic happened. It was just like, what? I remember Leanne telling me, I'll never forget this. We were in that main lobby outside of A when she come through security. She was just like, yeah, with the pandemic, we might get you 20 hours a week, maybe, just a few hits here and there. And I was freaking out. I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And I talked to Chris and Ron, and we just came up with a plan. We did it from home, and we just made it work. I remember when I was hired, Anna told me, I was like, listen, we can probably give you 20 hours a week. And I was like, that's totally fine. I can do other things. I worked 40 hours a week almost every single week, other than holidays or vacations.
And then you came over to me full time, and it took off from there. I mean, we tripled our production.
Yeah, true. I was bounced around between two teams. Like, who do you work for? It's like, well, who do I work for? It's a great question.
Yeah, but it's good now that we have a focus
Yeah.
for you and I. And
No, we know,
look
we know exactly what we're doing.
But look at how much we've been able to build it, not just from volume, but to continue to perfect the quality of the content. You know, in addition to always learning, I'm always afraid to plateau with the show.
Mhm.
And it always has to evolve because you know what? Everyone is a content creator these days, and you don't need a big brand behind you to necessarily do it. Of course, you need it for distribution and so forth, but you know, for content creators that have the leverage to do their own graphics, to, you know, make it as sexy as they want, we have to continuously, you know, perfect on our end.
Yeah. And you get to keep learning. I have learned an absurd amount of stuff over the past 2 years. Like, the fact that Christian can take this video feed and put it in this TV right here, and I know how that works.
Yeah.
Like, I can't believe I know that. And it's just been from just figuring it out and getting opportunities, getting chances. And someone's just like, well, like, how do you learn all this stuff? I was like, I don't say no. You know, you always do stuff. I'm going to go home. I'm going to try and learn something else. Because it's just like, I tell people I work all the time. Like, as soon as we log off at 3 o'clock, you know, I send my email, 5 o'clock hits. I don't stop working. I just go into something else. But to me, it's not really work. Like, this podcast is technically work. Like, our work is technically work. But I also like doing it. Like, it's fun. It's still a hobby. So it's like, I'm working 24/7 or I'm working 0/7. The difference is just mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Is this work or is this fun? It depends on my mood. And that's
That is
just really how it is.
That is cool.